Recently, I read a story in biography of Ouyang Xiu. In the Northern Song dynasty, there was a scholar named Jia. He didn't read much, but he claimed to be the best in the world. One day, he decided to compete with the literary master Ouyang Xiu in poetry. So he went to visit him. On the way, he saw a big tree, and he was inspired to write poetry. He chanted loudly, "There is a tree in front of the door with 2 big branches." He was about to continue chanting, but he racked his brains and couldn't find the next word. At this time, a stranger behind him continued to chant, "In spring, moss is leaves, and in winter, snow is flowers." Jia Shusheng looked back and saw that it was a man wearing coarse cloth. He was very disdainful. Coincidentally, the two were going to take a boat to the opposite side When they were on the river together, Jia Shusheng was not convinced and said again. The two of them took a boat to visit Ouyang Xiu. After hearing this, the stranger smiled slightly. "Xiu already knows you, but you don't know Jia Shusheng thought for a while before he suddenly realized that this person was Ouyang Xiu. His face flushed red. As soon as the boat docked, he immediately fled. In fact, in real life, there are many people who like to brag like this. Such people like to show off in any occasion. Those who have no money pretend to be rich, those who are ignorant pretend to be knowledgeable, and those who have no skills pretend to be unfathomable, thinking that they can attract the admiration of everyone. Little do they know whether a person has real materials or not. The more pretentious, the more he exposes his low-level cognition. I have seen a Dunning-Kruger effect. Those shallow people are in the first stage of cognition. Such people are often overconfident and think they know everything, but they are afraid that others don't know that they are very smart. Therefore, they always talk and show off everywhere. Li Diaoyuan, a poet in the Qing dynasty, was invited to a banquet. During the banquet, someone claimed that his talent was far above Li Diaoyuan and even ridiculed him in every way. Afterwards, the official who hosted the banquet asked everyone to write a couplet with the big piece of polygonatum in the box as the first, and the words qi and lai must be added at the end of the upper and lower couplets. As a result, the person who was still boasting just now fell silent in an instant. Li Diaoyuan said nothing, walked forward silently, and wrote a couplet. Only when a big piece of polygonatum is thrown into the river can we know that literature starts from nonsense, and only when jade beads beat drums can we believe that poetry starts from farts. Big piece of polygonatum thrown into the river means plop, and jade beads beat drums means not to communicate. Li Diaoyuan exposed and ridiculed the man's misrepresentation with just a couplet. At this time, everyone realized that this was Li Diaoyuan himself, and they despised the boaster before. As the old saying goes, the sky is high without saying it, and the earth is thick without saying it. Showing off and being high profile will only show a person's ignorance and shallowness, while showing off and being ostentatious will make oneself more likely to become a laughingstock. No matter what position you are in or what title you have, it is best not to be pretentious and self-righteous. Speak as much as you can, and wear as much clothes as you can. Otherwise, if you say too much or wear the wrong clothes, you will easily be ridiculed. Remember, the filling of a bun is not in the folds, and the food in your stomach is not in your mouth. A truly knowledgeable person would rather pretend to be dumb than show off. Mom once said, "What you have to overcome is your vanity and your desire to show off. Otherwise, if you pretend too much, you will have to pay an inestimable price for your low cognition." During the Qianlong period of the Qing dynasty, there was a man named Ma Shoufu in Zhangqiu, who was the kind of person who would shake his clothes if he had 10 coins on his waist. One year, his family had a good wheat harvest, so he falsely reported to people everywhere how many loads of wheat he had harvested. But that was not enough. Ma Shoufu wanted to make a fuss about this matter so that the villagers would think he was a rich man. The housekeeper gave him an idea, saying that it was not difficult, as long as he made a big splash. Ma Shoufu heard from the older generation that threshing is to make a sound when threshing. When the time comes, a few bells will be hung on the animals, and the animals will make a loud noise when walking. Outsiders will know that his family has a good harvest when they hear it. He thought this idea was very good, so he immediately ordered the housekeeper to do it, and specifically asked that the scene must be grand and the noise must be loud. So the housekeeper hung bells all over the animals. Sure enough, when they threshed, many villagers were attracted by the rumbling sound and ran over to see the novelty. Gradually, word spread from 1 to 10, and from 10 to 100. Everyone who could walk came from all the towns and villages, and everyone praised him as a rich man. However, he never dreamed that it was his vanity and pretense that almost cost him his life. On the 5th day of Ma Shoufu's threshing, several runners came from the county and took him away without saying a word. When he arrived at the court, Ma Shoufu was still confused and didn't know what crime he had committed. The county magistrate said with a dark face, Your home has been very lively these days. I heard the noise in the county government office. What do you want to do by gathering so many people together? Someone reported you for gathering a crowd to rebel. Is this true? Ma Shofu was so scared that he kowtowed repeatedly, saying that he was just making a scene and had no other intentions. The county magistrate said that your family made such a big noise just by making a scene. Can be seen how capable you are. If you want to rebel, who can stop you? Ma Shofu wanted to argue, but the county magistrate gave him a beating, which made his skin and flesh torn, and then put him in the jail. Ma Shofu thought about the excitement of the scene a few days ago, and then looked at it. It was like a dream, and his intestines were green with regret. Many of the unforeseen disasters in life are actually pretended. When you show off your wealth, you may not be envied by others, but you will definitely be envied and even hated by others. When you show off your ability, it will not bring you much respect. On the contrary, it will make others regard you as a thorn in their eyes. If you pretend too much, you will hurt yourself and even worse, your family. Therefore, people of high level have long understood that they should be modest in dealing with others. Showing off will only put themselves in danger. Only by living a low-key life can we avoid getting burned. Kevin Tsai once said a very insightful sentence. Some people reveal their inferiority in just 3 sentences. For example, if someone goes to India, he will not say, I went to India for work a few days ago, but I took a private plane to India for work a few days ago. He is afraid that you will look down on him, so he has to let you know that he has a private plane and he is amazing. The more inferior and ignorant a person is, the more he likes to show his superiority. This kind of people always want to package themselves and pretend to be magnificent for others to see. Then enjoy the empty satisfaction in the praise of others. Little do they know that blindly pretending will never gain the real respect of others, and people with high cognition don't even bother to pretend. Those who have no money pretend to be rich. Those who are ignorant pretend to be knowledgeable. Blindly pretending will never gain the real respect of others. There is such a scene in Qian Zhongshu's Fortress Besieged. Zhao Xinmei hosted Fang Hongjian, Chu Xinming, and Dong Xiachuan for dinner. As soon as they sat down, before Zhao Xinmei, the host, had said a few words, Chu Xinming and Dong Xiachuan began to speak out. Chu Xinming boasted that he was a philosopher, saying that he had a good relationship with Bertrand Russell in the UK, and that Russell had asked him to help answer many questions. But in fact, Russell only asked him when he would arrive in the UK, what plans he had, and how many sugars he wanted in his tea. Dong Xiachuan was even more amazing. He relied on his ability to write a few poems and look down on everyone. He said, after the Tang dynasty, there were only hills, valleys, mountains, and plains poets. Fang Hongjian asked him if he couldn't add a Dong Xiachuan answered very arrogantly, Su Dongpa, he was almost there. Fang Hongjian was shocked after hearing this, thinking that Dongpa's poems were not up to his standards. But in the midst of all the boasting, Zhao Xinmei, as the host and also an overseas student, never refuted others or boasted about himself from beginning to end, but just listened to them with a smile. His self-restraint also made Fang Hongjian admire him very much. He only praised Zhao Xinmei for his future success. In an era when everyone wants to gild their own faces, not pretending has become a very valuable quality, and there is really no need to pretend. Born as a human being, no one is better than anyone else, and no one is inferior to anyone else, just like what the writer Jack London said in Seawolf. Everyone regards himself as a diamond, but in the eyes of others, he is just an allotropy of diamond charcoal. If you always think highly of yourself, you will only be looked down upon by others. When one day you no longer open your mouth to show off, but keep silent, then your cognition will be considered to have reached a higher level. Han Han once said that people with too strong self-esteem are actually very weak, because they have not established their own cognitive system. Therefore, they can only cover up their inferiority and ignorance by pretending to be rich and boasting, thinking that they can be superior to others by boasting about themselves. However, the more they boast about themselves, the more they will highlight their ignorance and shallowness. Laozi once said that the reason why the river and the sea can be the king of bones is that they are good at being humble, so they can be the king of bones. Be more humble and less pretentious in your dealings with others, so that you can reach a higher level while being respected by others. Follow and like it, and encourage your friends. Chu Xinming boasted that he was a philosopher, saying that he had a good relationship with Bertrand Russell in the UK.